Hey everybody, just wanted to thank everybody for checking out my videos. I noticed that the retention rate is a little low, and I think it'll be better if I sort of mark out the times when the games start and when they stop, and probably also the different type of games that are being played. So if you're looking for a specific game, then you can just find it. But this deck in particular, I did go through a little brewing through this video, and I did make a couple changes. They're very minor. Um, I just took out a Cosmos Elixir, and I found a little more prison enchantment and artifact, um, just to deal with some of the more aggro decks. So hope you enjoy, and let's get started. So this deck is just based on like a deck I had encountered not too long ago that played Cosmos Elixir, and I ended up beating it, but I just thought it was just so great how it basically just parked out. And what I mean by that is it looks just like a card and life generating machine, and they just had missed some key components. It seemed that could have really took me down. They didn't have any Maze Mind Tome, and they couldn't find an Ugin, I believe, because likely they didn't have some of those components. So I have the Search for Glory in this deck, which is 3 mana, and if you pay snow, you gain life. For every snow you pay to play it, and I can find that. I can find sagas like Elspeth Conquers Death. I can find other legendary cards, and I can even find land. But of course, I'm going to be looking mostly for Ugin most of the time. You can see I gained just a ton of life, like just a good amount of life in the beginning turns, just to keep me alive too. And so this was an aggro deck. You can see they go very wide in the beginning. This deck was really nice, actually. The one I played against here, I liked how they had some insta aggression. Come turn 4, it was looking pretty sad, and I was glad I played the Shatter of the Sky in this deck, because it really saved me in this instance. So you see, by turn 3, they were on the play, so we're at a slight disadvantage. At this time, I just want to stay alive, so I wanted to go get some more life, just in case. So I hunted out for some life, and I'm gonna find the Ugin. I know it's early, but I'm definitely gonna have that on my radar. Definitely have enough land available, at least for the next turn, and I'm gonna be definitely shattering this guy no matter what next turn. So yeah, that looked like a pretty big attack right there, but we ended up taking that down quite handedly. They ended up getting a single card from that interaction, because they do get a card when the board clears from the shatter, but they had no protection. They had no Selfless Saviors or anything in that deck. So maybe if they had like a instead of the Giant Killer, if they played Selfless Savior in this deck, it looks like really good. I think that's probably the kind of route they would want to take this deck if they had replayed this game and had saw what had happened. They'd probably definitely consider that. It's so fast. So we go and foretell the Doomscar, so that's also a board clear, and you can foretell it, meaning to play it at a later time, and you can play it for 3 mana instead of the 5 cost that you can play from your hand. So it's nice just to put away for later if I need it. There's a decision between the showdown, but they already had the cards exiled to play for the showdown, so there's no need to really exile the saga at that time. I thought it was just better to take the 1/1 counters for all the creatures at that time. So I have a good amount of prison enchantments and artifacts. I have the Glass Casket, and I have the Heliod's Judgment. In this deck, the Heliod's Judgment is going to be priority. because the glass casket, if it is exiled, you will just return the creature back to the board. So I would tend to probably want to exercise the Heliod Judgments first. And we'll get to the Cosmos Elixir a little bit later. This is not like where it shines. The Cosmos Elixir really shines against other control decks. You definitely get a card advantage from it.
Let us strive.
So yeah, we want to hit that boss tree. We definitely don't want that to hit its loyalty mark where it can go off with the ultimate. We definitely do not want that. Oh, this deck is, I would like to give credit to Cobra Girl Blue for really kicking this one off in the right direction. I just happened to stumble upon a deck that played the Cosmos Elixir that I thought it was kind of similar and it reminded me of his deck somewhat. And so the pieces that sort of came together with this deck, definitely the Elixir is definitely a new component that wasn't in the Cobra Girl Blue deck. And I really think that is definitely something to be revisited.
Leave me in peace.
And other than that, it's pretty much. I mean, there might be some slight changes to the land. I did change the land from it had 4 times Field of Ruins in the initial deck, and I changed it to Radiant Fountains to get that little extra life for the Cosmos Elixir, so that we can like definitely make sure that we're getting that that trigger more often. So this was a scoop. They ended up just scooping immediately after that turn, and that was a good victory for us. Survived a good rush from the beginning. We had our board wipes, and that was it. We can counter mono white a lot in this going, and it definitely led to. I was talking to some people on Discord today, and we were talking about like stress tests. Like to put your deck to brew it, you put it through like stress tests in the ranked ladder. You want to like hit all those good decks, right? That are commonly played, like rogues or mono white. You want to play those as much as possible because, especially when you're brewing maybe something that's kind of unique, you want to see if it can go against those decks and be playable. If this is the game with the Daxos, this game is just obnoxious. Like, so you can see how strong mono white is on the play. They're gonna have all the tools to just destroy me come turn 3. They'll have Heliod out, they'll be able to create an angel. It's just gonna be real nasty. So I don't have any, in this deck I did not have any board wipes. I didn't have any answers in terms of the Glass Casket or a Heliod's Judgment. And so what I realized is I had 3 Ondu inversions in my hand. And that's just unacceptable. Like, look how much land I have. I have so much access to land. It really, like, this is how you brew the deck. You see those weaknesses and you change them. So this was an easy choice for me to go back to the deck, take out 2 tapped lands, the Ondu inversions, which is just not necessary, especially against mono white running the Savior. And I ended up finding another Heliod's Judgment in the Glass Casket. And after I brewed those those changes, I had a much better results against the mono white decks for the rest of the session. But this game is just over. It's just a complete disaster. So yeah, this is when I go back and I'm like, well, what do I do? So I think in this part of it, I might have, I think I found another shatter. That was the change I made there. So I had not made the change of adding the Heliod's Judgment in the Glass Castle. That will come in then after the next game, I'm sure. So, but that change is permanent for this deck, is to just run 3 elixirs. I don't think a 4th is necessary. I think 3 is just fine. And I added another, I believe I added another Shatter the Sky, so that we're running 4 of those. And 8 total, 8 board wipes with 4 Shatters of the Sky and 4 Doom Scars. But you can see this deck is encountering a lot of mono white at this point. And I remember this game went pretty smoothly for mono white. I was on the play, and I had a couple answers early with the Skyclave Apparition and the Shadow the Sky. I really love those Radiant Fountains too. I was kind of holding off on the Skyclave Apparition. I was thinking about wiping the board at this point if they had if they overflowed their board, if they didn't have any Selfless Saviors or anything. I was just gonna. And they gave us the good news right there. They equipped the speaker, and then we just shattered. So you can see, like, it does make a difference if you're on the play or not. You definitely have an advantage if you're on the play. Just get, like, it's basically just an extra turn. I mean, you start first. But what the goal is you want to be able to have a chance when you're on the draw. So that's what I've sort of wanted this deck to be, is something that's good on the play and the draw, and have that balance that's good no matter what. So this game was pretty easy. I ended up just using my apparition on this guy, and they sent me the good game. So it was quite a simple match right there. Wasn't too complicated. But it is fun, like how you have deck ideas and then they just kind of evolve, and things just seem to get better and better. And then you're satisfied. You come to a point where you like where the deck is at, and you don't really think there's too many changes. It meets the stress test, so to speak. And then maybe you go try and play a different type of deck that you like. Like when I like was really getting into the ladder, I would probably play one deck. Like, I really liked Izzet, so I had an Izzet deck and I would just play it all the time. And I got really deep into the ladder, and came into the top 1200 pretty easily. One season I was just blazing, and I got into, like, it was definitely like in the top 100 for a while. It was fun. It was fun to get up to that level. But I'm definitely enjoying this more too, just trying a variety of decks. It's been really fun. So this game, I did not like how this ended up. This is when I had made the major changes because I had seen that I kept on getting these tap lands in my hand, at least 2 at a time, the Ondu Inversion and the Amiria's Call. And I made a pretty big change at the end of this game, which was a very good change. Definitely an improvement on the deck. So those board wipes are going to be much less effective against like the Hollow Blade and the Selfish Slavegear because they can just grant indestructible easily. And if I'm not finding my Skyclave Apparition or my Glass Casket or my Heliod's Judgment, I'm just going to lose the game. Rocky! So we ended up just doomscarring right here. There's so much value on the board. And we would have had like a really good position for this game. Is like he just ended up equipping a Maul here, and it was really tough. He ended up topping that card. He drew it. He just drew it right there, and we don't have any flyers in this deck, so yeah. So you can see I ended up getting like pulling another Ondu Inversion, which is basically that's happened twice in this session already. So just recognizing that sort of excess of cards, it was just a no-brainer to get rid of it and find some new answers. Plenty of land between all those cards. So I was just trying to survive here. Give me like a 2-turn clock with Yorion, and try to find another answer. Try to find a Glass Casket, Skyclave Apparition, any of those cards. Heliod's Judgment, any of those cards could have extended the game. They actually have to grant indestructible for this on this turn. And we have no way of winning at this point. We just have nothing to play. So we have to concede. It hurts, man. That just really hurts. But that's part of the reason we play these decks and try to improve them. And I enjoy that part too. I enjoy putting some work into this and putting the finished product up for other people so that they can just have it the way it should be, the way it should be set up for the arena. I really feel like that's beneficial. And then if they want to make changes to it and they improve it even more, they find different patterns or different cards that they think will make the deck better, then that is even better. Alright, so this is when we went back into the deck. We noticed we took out the 2 Ondu Inversions, which gave it a little deliberation here, but it was definitely the right call. Had plenty of land, didn't need to play. I think I had 37 at this point. I think I do a little count of the land. Let's see, maybe I can count it from the screen. 4, 8, 10, 25, 29. Yeah, it's playing just a little too many. So we go and click down 2 of those, go down to 2 on the undo inversion, and then we're gonna add Heliod's Punishment. We're gonna get a copy of that. And this is just the brewing 101. This is just it. This is just how it is, how you do it. What doesn't work, you fix it. And I think I wanted to maybe, yeah, I think I was satisfied with that. So 2 on-new inversions out. Reasoning behind that is that we have so much board and exiling wipe already. That card is good for like the Sultai Ultimatum decks, but we also have Ugin, so it's okay. And I really like the Amiria's Call. I think that's a really decent card for us to get on the offensive against certain types of decks. So we're going to keep 4 copies of that. We're just going to drop the inversion just to begin, just for later. I think it's fine. I haven't really been using it anyways, so. So definitely like a kind of, not exactly a mirror match. Still trying to decide like what this deck is weak against, and for Yorion, the Yorion matches. It seems to do pretty well against all the Yorion decks. I'd say like the version of it that it is now, I think you're going to have a fair chance against any Yorion deck. I think maybe your hardest matchup is going to be like Esper Yorion, because they play negates. I think that could be a tough matchup. But other than that, you're going to have definitely a fair chance. So this is the Esper Yorion. They have the black, white, and blue colors. I think it's a very powerful deck. Usually play Doom Foretold. And of course they have all their blinkable enchantments too, which is great. I definitely don't want them to be able to get their board too strong, because I've kind of established a board already. So I definitely want to like sort of steal some of the stuff that they're going to be trying to bloat. So that's I'm gonna be taking that. And they're gonna eliminate it. So they don't get the because they didn't wait, they don't get the 2/2. It's just sort of the consequence of not waiting to get it blinked, and he says, oops. Yeah, it's a little bit of an oops when you lose your ability to get your apparition. I thought that was interesting that they gave me a card. I did not expect that, actually. I think that's kind of a mistake. I think the Solemn, like, probably, I know it's 4 mana, but if it's the Curve Well, and if I can get a land and a card out of it, it's pretty much serves its purpose. So we go for Amiria's Call here. We have like Definitely a lot of value in our hand. They haven't really played that much. So just went for the Amiria's Call and they ended up extinction event, which means that they were able to choose a mana amount and exile it. So we get an Ugin on the board, which was awesome. And they ended up just Doom Foretold on the next turn. So that was a bummer. So these decks definitely go like toe to toe. So then we bring out our ECD and take out their Doom. You're gonna love the next turn. And of course they have their own ECD now. It's just awesome. Just a very mirrored deck. So who has the advantage right now? Well, I'd say they do. They can blink their ECD, which is bad for us. And I probably should have went with no plays here. Looking back. Because they'll just have a target and they'll exile the Simulacrum, so I won't get a card. So I basically just spent 4 mana to get another land out. So the merits of that are questionable. The good thing is I do have a Doomscar available, so they're low on cards too. So I think if I can find that Cosmos Elixir pretty soon, I'll definitely have an advantage. I'll be generating lots of cards. They're not going to be playing that card in this deck. That's a good draw too. They do not have any lands that tap for attacks. So yeah, I know they'll just bring the Yorion back, but it's fine. I'll bring out a Yorion of my own. So what they're looking for right now is a Treacherous Blessing. That's going to be like the best card for them. They're going to draw 3 immediately, but they're just topping land. So now we're just going to go work with our Haven. And foretell our Doomscar. So they'll bring back Yorion and then the ECD will fade. So they won't be able to blink that, they'll just be sitting there. Wow, what about like an Eerie Ultimatum for them? That'd be pretty epic too. I really like this Search for Glory. It really came in handy right here. I was able to find an Ugin. Or did I just go with an ECD? I might have just went with that. Because I just wanted to bring back my Ugin that way. Give him a little bit of attacks. Another Yorion. I have a lot of mana available, so my turns are still pretty dynamic at this time. And with the Maze Mind Tome, it's going to make it even better. So no further plays here because they have the Yorion and my Faceless Haven would die to an attack. So they ended up getting a Miria's Call just on the dot. So This game was really close, like really close. Back and forth. So we found a shatter, and we get to bring back our Ugin at the same time. But the Yorion had the had indestructible from the Mirror's Call, so I had to exile everything. And then shatter. If they found like a Crawling Barons in the deck, I think that would have really helped their cause. And then we're able to start going to work again. We're still looking for that elixir, the Cosmos elixir. So, somewhat of a clock, like they're about to get a card from their Raven board in about 2 turns, so it's kind of worrisome. Not many cards come to mind other than maybe like an Ugin of their own. But I'm just going to be drawing so many cards now. With the elixir out. So in terms of like playing this game on ladder, it's definitely easy choice, but it's kind of slow. So I wouldn't recommend if you wanted to get into the top 1200 to really play it. I'd play like some sort of more of an aggro style deck, the mono white deck, mono red. Those decks get into the top 1200. These decks are harder to get there. You'd have to play a lot, but they're really good. So our deck is absolutely firing now. You can see that our curve is much better once we remove the Ondu inversions, the 2, and switch them for the Heliod's Judgment and the Glass Casket. Everything is better now. You can see we have the Heliod's Judgment on 2, and now we have like a near perfect response and perfect curve for our game plan. It's very reactive too. So we're recognizing that they're playing some sort of ramping deck of some sort. They're playing the World Tree. So not exactly sure what they're playing at this point, but we're fine to like make sure we hit all our land drops. It's really important that we do that against this deck, whatever they're playing. Yeah, we point out the elixir at that time because definitely seems like a good candidate for this matchup. And we want to keep hitting our land too, so we're going to go find the plains. And we're going to go find some answers too. We'll probably find an ECD here. Yeah, definitely. So we really have no clue what they're playing at this time, but you'll see what they're playing. They're playing the more refined version of everyone's favorite deck on the block right now. It's kind of uncertain exactly what they're going for right now, so it's kind of interesting actually. It's a very slow deck, that's for certain. This deck would not, the deck they're playing would not be good against any sorts of aggro decks. It's probably best against decks like mine, or what they think would be the best. And then that ends up being a Tibalt's Trickery deck, which was really weird. You end up finding the Prismatic Bridge, which is fantastic if it's like on turn 2. If you can find that on turn 2, then you're going to win the game 100% of the time. So I guess we got fortunate that it took so long for them to get that combo going. It's just as if like we're playing against like another control deck at this time, not like the deck with, you know, a cheap win card on it. So we definitely have like the advantage no matter what. We have all the better cards in hand. And we have all the answers for this type of deck now. We're set up. I was rethinking the casket there. Because of, we'll just give it back if Ugin exiles anything. But then I ended up just going for it anyways. And now we're just going to start drawing a bunch of cards. So we didn't have enough mana at the time to play an Ugin to exile the Coma, which was unfortunate. So we went for the next best thing. Try to induce a kill to get another land. But they didn't go for it, they just gave me the life points, which is fine. And I think we just search out, did we just get an ECD or a land? I'm not sure of what we did here. Yeah, we just went to go for an exile at the worst next turn. But we're gonna have enough mana for to exile everything with Ugin. It's kind of interesting that Coma is really strong, like, but it does definitely have its weaknesses too. It's definitely like a great Tibalt Trickery card to get it on turn 2. It's really fantastic, but in this specific situation, it's just gonna lose to Ugin. There's nothing they can do either. I think I just go ahead and kill off the Ugin at this point. Yeah. Just kills everything. Except my artifacts. So they'll get back their god there. But it's just the just a minor setback. And then they go for an ultimatum, so they're throwing everything at us. So, still not too concerned. I have the ECD now. I'll bring back Ugin in a moment. We'll definitely be exiling that, that's the guy, I think. Okay, so they end up triggering my ECD. Interesting. So I did have a Shatter of the Sky. I think that was probably the play now. They did that. Just kill everything off. Then we'll get a card. And we'll get another card. They had a lot of they drew a lot of cards with that ultimatum. I'm not too knowledgeable about the world tree, but they must have been getting pretty close to it. I don't think they had it. They must have been getting pretty close to being able to do that.
Not ignore my draconic talents.
So the Ugin is worrisome, definitely. And at this time I just decided to go to face. I accidentally summoned the wrong faceless haven. Gotta be careful about that. But I just figured I could probably just kill him. I had enough spot removal with the Skyclave, so I wasn't really too concerned that I could just hit him for another 4 points of damage the next turn. Wasn't really too concerned about the Ugin, even though it's growing. So they take a Haven at this point. They won't be able to activate it because they don't have any snow mana. But that was what they decided on. They could have taken the Elixir, but that would have given them 2 more hit points of life. So that probably would have been the better play. And I guess they're just looking for answers now.
Greatest creation.
They have that. And this was a scoop. So much mana I can just play another one. Yorian. It's kind of funny. Victory. So we're coming up on the pretty good run now. I think that's 2 in a row. And the deck, since the change, has played really smoothly. it's just it's so funny. I had like already modified this deck. You rarely have to mulligan for it, but that would be like the one time you do when you pick up a couple of fountains and like a crawling, like a faceless haven and a crawling baron. It's not going to be very common, but yeah, I've definitely adjusted the deck already to avoid that. So even though we've mulliganed, we're on the play against mono red, so they're doing their mono red thing, and we're gonna be really patient on this game. Maybe you'd think that the move would be to put the Hilayat's Judgment on the robber, but since the wall is up, we're not going to be taking too much damage a turn. So we can wait for like an annex to come out, and then we can definitely want to consider using that the judgment on that annex. So this was an interesting line. I've seen this card being floated around in the mono red. It gives them a little extra bounce. Each time I block, I take a damage. So it's kind of interesting. We're fine with another wall. That's exactly what we want. We can set up another wall with birth, and likely use the judgment, perhaps on the robber now, but perhaps not, because you can just freely equip to the Fervent Champion. So yeah, we just decided to draw. Probably a good move. So here comes the annex, I'm quite sure, on this turn, so our patience pays off, and we're going to be able to use our Heliod's Judgment on the annex. So far we faded Embercleave. Embercleave could have came out on that turn, could have been equipped to the robber, and we'd definitely be taking more damage. We would have answers for it, but we'd be hurt, getting a little more hurt every turn. So we've effectively taken out the annex for a couple turns, and we decide on to hold the apparition for a later target, because we do, like I said, have the two walls up right now. So we bought the Yorion instead. We're looking to reset our Maze Mind Tome. And find more answers that way. Really the objective is to get up to 8 mana so we can put our Ugin down and close out the game. But yeah, they had a pretty good draw. We were on the play, so we had the advantage. But to take down mono red is definitely something that we want to do. Definitely shows that your deck is in the right spot. If you're a control deck, if you can, these are the decks that you want to be able to compete with and dominate. So this was definitely a good result for this deck, a good showing. Don't think I need another Maze Mind Tome at this point. I was looking for maybe Glass Casket or another Heliod's Judgment to so there's the Heliod's Judgment. We ended up just getting fortunate and drawing one. So looks like we're gonna get the apparition going here. Take the robber. And I think we have Heliod's Judgment on Rimrock Knight. And what's really, really awesome about Yorion and Heliod's Judgment is he actually resets both of those enchantments. So you can just blink them and return them. There's a really cool feature of Yorion other than being able to also blink the Skyclave apparition. Those they are also able to blink the enchantments that you already have on the creatures and reset them. So it's just crazy awesome. So we're gonna have to definitely do some blocking on this turn. Lose a wall. Take a little damage here. Like 2 points. Just 1 point. Well, 2 points from the artifact. So their board, in all other circumstances, would look really scary right now. But we're doing all right. The Faceless Haven is problematic, though. So this was the time to blink Yorion. So we're going to blink the Heliod's Judgment. Both of them. And the Apparition and the Maze Mind Tome. Thinking like the other card that's like Heliod's Judgment is a Mystic Subdual. That works well with that's a permanent. It's a permanent card. There's no time counters on those. But the Heliod's Judgment's never really given me an issue to have the 4-turn clock. Rarely does the creature ever see the possibility of coming back into play with all the other removal I have. So right now, their main threats are the Fireblade Chargers and their Soul Apparition, and Embercleave could do lots of pain. It could definitely take our life total down to probably a point where we don't want to be. So I was holding on to the Miria's Call. I was really, wanted that to come into fruition. I ended up just letting that go, because if they did have like a chance Frostbite, we'd lose the Orion, that would be bad. So I just let one come through. But they ended up just having the Fireblade Charger. And so this was the point where I ended up exiling their Annex that they had just brought out. And this time it was time to drop the Amira's Call as a land. It was definitely time. And now I'm just grinding for a land. And there it is. Now I can play Ugin. And we pretty much have the game locked up now. Goldspan Dragon would be kind of interesting. But I just trade with it with the Yorion. So we're going to take a couple points this time. That helm does a little damage. They get through for one, and then they get to sack and do another one. But there comes the Radiant Fountain. They have their tax on now too. And here comes Ugin. So this is just a really nicely played game. Definitely shows how patience works. Gotta be really patient. And just also just trust your deck.
Reality is unwritten.
We're not gonna risk an attack at this point. We're pretty much on cruise control. So I ended up killing the Yorion, and then it just comes back with a Elspeth with a 1/1 on it, and they had seen enough at that time, and that was it. And that was the victory, and that was the end of the session. So we'll take another last look at the deck. I definitely will timestamp all the different parts of this if you want to come look at different parts of different games you're looking for to see. Definitely a good variety of games in this session. But let's see what I was thinking at the end of the session. Wanted to point out a couple things. So Yorion actually was a great component of this deck, along with the added Heliod's Punishment and Glass Caskets. The mana was a little too strong before, and we found a good number by reducing the Ondu inversion. Of course, we had the Legion Angels in the sideboard, but didn't come to play, but those are useful as well. And that was it. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you later. Thank you.